Welcome back to the Early Edge on CBS Sports Network, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. All right, gentlemen, we attacked today. We got some early plays on today. Now let's get even earlier plays on tomorrow's slate for the Saturday slate, second round, the games that we do know. And we're starting off pretty strong here with Auburn Creighton. I mean, talk about a guy named Ryan Kalkbrenner, okay? This, if anyone could do it, I think it could be him. Mike, do you agree there?
I do. And it's really just a play on the number, right? I think Auburn is extremely likely to win the game on the court. But when I look at this spot for Creighton, I price this game down to 7. And it really comes down to a couple things that I've seen. Number one, multiple times we have seen Auburn start a game a little bit slow. And that is a recipe for disaster against Creighton, in my opinion, because Creighton is a team that presents that unique matchup. You've got a 7-footer that knows how to stay out of foul trouble. You've got a team that, again, it's an older team. It's an experienced team. I think that if Creighton comes out here and starts well like they have, and we get that somewhat slow start from Auburn, we're talking about a situation where Auburn is down by 4 or 5 points early in this game, making it difficult to cover, and we're just in for a back and forth game most of the way. So I like the points here with Creighton.
Yeah, 5 straight ATS losses for Auburn by 51 points. So they're basically failing to meet the market by 10 points a game over their last 5, not coming out with the same energy that we saw early in the season. You know, maybe they flipped the switch, but they fell in love with the three-pointer yesterday, taking 35 threes, tying their season high, which is not really their game. They need to go inside. And Creighton, yeah, they have veterans. They have, 3 legit stars, Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, and Neal. I think they can hang and keep it close.
Yeah, listen, I switched my pick, I think, 9 times on this game when I sent it in. But when I sent it in, Auburn was 8.5, and now it's back up to 9.5. I'm kind of close with Mike. I made Auburn -8 here. So I think the number is going to be key. I think Larry hit on something important. They got 3-point happy in that first game. And Mike mentioned that Creighton doesn't foul a lot, which is true. But it'll be interesting to see how they use Broom early in this game, because he's been able to get opponents into foul trouble throughout the season. And Kalkbrenner's probably going to be on him one-on-one most of the game. I think that's a fascinating matchup in round 2. So I lean Auburn, but let's see where the number goes in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Kalkbrenner fan. I was a big Creighton fan last year. I think this is a guy who isn't going to foul, typically, and I think that's what the secret weapon is for this guy here. So I do hope Creighton gives us a pretty good game here. Let's move on to Michigan, Texas A&M. You see Michigan catching 2.5 points here, just slight dogs. Mike, do you agree with that? Where are you leaning here?
Yeah, I actually agree with it from a computer standpoint, right? I have that that's my projection on the game, is right at 2.5. Now, watching everything and what I've seen, I think that Texas A&M is the only way that I can look. I think Michigan is terrible offensively. I don't think they have any shot in this game offensively. So it's going to come down to what do you get out of Texas A&M on that side of the ball. But I think Texas A&M can win this game on defensive intensity alone. So if I had to play this, it would be the A&M side.
Yeah, A&M money line is my favorite play of the tournament so far. A&M isn't a hard team to figure out. When they can turn you over and they can dominate the offensive boards, they win. Michigan has struggled with turnovers all year. It's going to get them at some point in this tournament. They have size, but they don't particularly rebound that well. And I think A&M is going to dominate the boards here. And the other thing, if you look at the Big Ten, the team closest to A&M is Michigan State. And that's the one team that dominated Michigan. I actually wasn't impressed with Michigan last night. I thought they should have won that game by 25. They were up big, and they let San Diego come back. I was impressed with A&M. Yale kept making runs, and they just said nope and kept distancing themselves from them. I love A&M in this matchup.
Well, I hope we can get to break soon, because I got to put in that bet that Tom just referenced. Before it moves, but I'm with you guys, and I'm going under Michigan's team total, under 69.5. A&M's defense, I was on Yale yesterday. If they could have hit a free throw, they probably still would have covered the number, but A&M would not let them get into their offense. I mean, number 10 defense in the nation, and Michigan is not going to have the huge size advantage they had last night, so they're not going to get those easy ones, which is, how they got up big in the first place. So, yeah, I think Michigan's going to struggle offensively under 69.5.
Yeah, I love to hate Texas A&M, but this particular spot seems very, very hard to go against them, especially with Tom mentioning that this Michigan team can't rebound. I mean, that's just feeding right into Texas A&M here. So 2 claps to Texas A&M, I suppose. All right, let's move on here to Drake, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, to me, one of those 3 seeds, a little underrated if you can be underrated for such a high seed. I think this team is pretty poised. Seems like a lot of you are against me here. Larry, are you riding the hot hand of Drake?
Yeah, they got their monkey off the backs. You know, the 15-point lead dwindled to 1. Everybody said Drake is collapsing again. It certainly looked like they were going to choke that away. And then Bennett Sturts comes out, hits the big shot, carries them to victory. I mean, that guy is a true leader and a true star. And I just think this is too many points. You know, Texas Tech played without Chance McMillan. Darian Williams didn't play well. None of their stars really showed up yesterday. They didn't cover. They were in a tight game late in that game, and the bench had to step up and carry him through. So I think it's going to be a tight one. I'll take the points with Drake.
You know, I'm optimistic on Drake here, guys, a little bit. I'm going to go over a team total here, which is kind of rare because obviously I love playing a lot of these unders, but I think the number's corrected a touch too much here by about a full possession on one side. It's 60.5. I went over 60.5 for Drake. I'm not saying they're necessarily going to win the game or even cover, but when I look at the style of play here, yes, it's going to be slow tempo. Yes, it's great defense. Texas A&M or Texas Tech, has gotten themselves into a few overs of late, and that's what I see here. I see a competitive enough game, and I see a game that is ultimately extended at the end. I think Texas Tech is the better team, could be up by that possession or 2, but Drake is the kind of team that's going to keep fouling Texas Tech. They're going to keep coming down, getting easy buckets, getting threes at the end, and ultimately I thought this number should have been 62.5, looking for that 63rd point. So give me Drake team total over 60.5.
Mike, I must say, I have not seen you take this many overs in my entire life than I have the past 40 minutes, but I am here for it. You know I'm a big over